I'm one of those collectors and I'm one of those people. I need the physical item in my hand. I need to be able to hold the cards. Well, on ePack, you can. Hey, everybody, welcome into another edition of Nonsense on Ice, where we talk hockey and we talk the hobby. Doug Plagens here with you as always. And as always, Nonsense on Ice is presented by our friends at Upper Deck. And we've got a busy show for you coming up here today. Once again, recording during the NHL's Olympic break, recording a little bit earlier than we normally do. We're not going to get too much into breaking down the results of the Olympics and things like that because, well, the Olympics aren't done. On the next edition of Nonsense on Ice, we're going to talk about the full Olympic fallout, how it affected the market. We're going to get into all of that. So that's going to be on the next edition of Nonsense on Ice. We do, though, have some Olympic items to get to over the course of the show here today, and some big Olympic items. We're going to talk some Team USA women's hockey, gold medalists once again. So congratulations to the Team USA women's hockey team. The gold medalists had that thrilling win over Canada in the gold medal game. So we'll get to some items regarding that coming up as we cruise along here on Nonsense on Ice. We'll touch on some of the players who didn't get to the medal round, but who had productive tournaments for their teams, and talk about some of their cards moving forward here on Nonsense on Ice. We have the Hobby 3 Stars. Like I said, we're going to have an NHL Hobby 3 Stars and a Team USA Women's Hobby 3 Stars coming up. We'll talk about some of the injuries that took place, unfortunately, in a sport like hockey, a full contact sport. You knew that over a best-on-best tournament that was a couple of weeks in length, that there were going to be some bumps and bruises along the way. Talk about some of that. We have a number of different things to get to. A guest stopping by coming up a little bit later on, and we're excited about this one here. Daniel Machado, Upper Deck's Director of Direct-to-Consumer Platforms. He's going to stop by. We'll talk about all things Upper Deck, but mostly we're going to talk about ePack, folks, and talk about his role there and how you get into ePack. What is ePack if you've never tried it? We're going to dig into everything as it relates to that coming up here in just a little bit. So again, a lot to get to here on this edition of Nonsense on Ice. And we like to rip some stuff at the end of every episode. So today, right after we get to the Team USA Women's Hobby 3 Stars, we're going to rip a few packs of, this is the second edition Upper Deck PWHL. So you can see that on your screen if you're in our YouTube audience. We're going to rip some of the Upper Deck PWHL. Now, these came out back in August, I believe, back in the late summer before we really got into the hockey seasons, but really fun product to open. And I opened a lot of the first edition from last year, and it was loaded with hits. So excited to rip into the PWHL packs. And there are going to be names in there that you're familiar with if you tuned in to the women's ice hockey tournament in the Olympics. So we'll have a lot as it relates to that coming up. And the Carolina Hurricanes extended a goaltender. Contract extension to Brandon Bussi. He's come up in conversation here on Nonsense on Ice quite a bit. So we're going to talk about that, what it means coming up in just a little bit. Again, a lot to get to. If you're joining us for the first time here on Nonsense on Ice presented by Upper Deck, we thank you very much for being here. If you've been on board with us for a while now, we thank you very much, and we'd love to hear from you at Doug Plagens on the Twitter X platform, on Instagram. Like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. We're available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. You can also watch it on YouTube. So again, lots of different places to catch the show. And wherever you're consuming the show today, we thank you very much for being here. So let's get into some of the items that caught our attention here as the Olympics have gone on. And I know that when this episode drops, we are going to know who the gold medal winner was on the men's side. We're going to know who took home the silver, the bronze. At the time we're recording this, though, we don't have those results in. So a lot of what we're going to get to, just some observations to the point we're at. We're coming to you on Friday, and Canada just got by Finland to give you a little bit of an idea as to when we are recording this. But we're going to talk about some of the results we have right now, some of the trends that we've gotten to. Folks, at the time of this recording, Macklin Celebrini Points in all 5 games that Team Canada's played, had goals in the first 4, assisted on the game winner against Finland. He's been a story. He's going to be a story if you're into hockey, if you're into the hobby. Macklin Celebrini is going to be a story for about the next 15 years, so get used to it. I'd say maybe the next 20 years, so get used to it. He is only 19 years old. As the Olympics have gone along, the card market has continued to react to Macklin Celebrini's success. One notable sale that I just saw here at 24.25, and the sales data we give you is from Card Ladder. 24.25 Young Guns Silver Outburst PSA 10 on the 19th of February, so yesterday at the time we're coming to you right now, $4,420. Why is that significant? Well, $4,400 for a Macklin Celebrini card, $4,400 for any card, that's significant. But back in December, sales of that card, $2,623, $2,940. That was in December. So you're talking over the span of about 2 months, that card is up close to $1,500, $2,000. Thought it was interesting. The PSA 10 population of the Silver Outburst, according to Card Ladder, 160. So again, it's not a terribly plentiful card, but they are out there. And as far as the PSA 10 Young Guns go for Celebrini, between $1,776 and $1,972, the 4 sales that took place on February 19th. So again, the Celebrini market continues to be strong. Mentioned in some previous episodes. The only thing that maybe would make me a little bit, proceeding with caution on, for example, a Celebrini Young Gun would be the fact that I'm sure there are a lot of those that are either sitting at PSA, on the way to PSA, being pulled from packs because that Series 2 is not that old. It's still being ripped out there. So again, the population could increase a bit, but I think you have so many people taking note of what he's doing right now for the Sharks and for Team Canada that his market is going to continue to be strong. And I tell you what, there are a lot of you out here that maybe you think I'm crazy saying this, and maybe a lot of you are saying, that's accurate. And if you disagree, if you agree, if you have a thought, feel free to comment down below if you're watching, listening on one of the streaming services. But Macklin Celebrini's skill set, to me, the closest thing to Sidney Crosby's skill set of anybody who's come along since Sidney Crosby. And I know he's 19, but to be doing what he's doing at 19, it's special. And we'll just see how things play out as time goes along. Macklin Celebrini has been certainly in the news as the Olympics have gone along. A couple of injuries. Mentioned Sidney Crosby. He did not play the most recent game at the time of this recording that Team Canada played. So that's going to be worth monitoring, not only for Team Canada where we sit right now, but when the NHL season resumes. At the time we're doing this show, the NHL season is less than a week away from resuming when this episode drops, a couple of days, about a day and a half away from resuming at the time that this episode drops. That's obviously notable to Pittsburgh Penguins fans out there because the Penguins have worked themselves into a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. And without a doubt, they need their captain. They need number 87 in the lineup. That's going to be worth monitoring. Kevin Fiala, toughest break of the Olympics for Fiala, for the Team Switzerland squad for the Los Angeles Kings, that he's going to be out for the year, had that injury in a game against Team Canada. So some injuries to some key players. In the case of Sidney Crosby, of course, we know Fiala is going to be out for the year, but in the case of Crosby, game's better with Sidney Crosby on the ice. You hope he can shake off whatever that is as quickly as possible. And again, by the time this episode drops, we may know a little bit more as far as the extent of that. We talked a lot about Juraj Slafkovsky and Dalibor Dvorsky. They were in our Hobby 3 Stars last week, have played really well for Team Slovakia. Obviously, regardless of how things go for them, 2 young guys worth noting, Slafkovsky in those 22-23 products, and Dvorsky with rookie cards in this year's products, some guys that I certainly would be keeping an eye on in the hobby. So some names there that have certainly, caught some people's attention, to say the least, as the tournament has gone along. Folks, I mentioned Brandon Bussi, and this is an interesting one. He's not at the Olympics, but Brandon Bussi, just a few days back, He was signed to a 3-year contract extension, $1.9 million a year on the extension after this year. A 27-year-old rookie, hadn't played the National Hockey League until this season, his first NHL season. And things have gone pretty well for Bussi and the Carolina Hurricanes. And the Hurricanes have needed things to go well for Bussi because, well, Frederik Andersen has dealt with some injuries. And when he's played, it hasn't exactly been vintage Frederik Andersen. And Pyotr Kochetkov has been injured and looks like he's going to be perhaps out the rest of the year here. So Brandon Bussi, whether it was the plan or not, he seems to be the guy right now. And as far as Brandon Bussi's concerned, 23-3-1, 2.12 goals against average, a .908 save percentage this season in his first NHL season. And I know what a lot of you are thinking out there. And these are also reasons why Brandon Bussi, from a hobby perspective, is an interesting one, because Carolina, as far as a system for a goaltender to play behind, it's a friendly system for a goaltender to play behind. They are so methodical in the way that they play under Rod Brind'Amour and so responsible defensively that maybe they don't ask as much out of their goaltender as a lot of other teams do. They're a contender and have been the last handful of years. Look like they're going to continue to be a contender in the Eastern Conference, and they're one of the contenders in the Eastern Conference this season. If the playoffs started tomorrow, Brandon Bussi is probably the guy between the pipes for the Carolina Hurricanes. As far as the advanced metrics, and I can tell you this, I've seen him play a couple of times this season. He is a big dude, takes up a lot of room, moves really well. I am by no means a goaltending mechanics expert, but he looks the part. This doesn't look like fool's gold with Brandon Bussi. Sometimes with a goaltender, especially an undrafted goaltender, you just have to, when that opportunity comes up, you just have to be ready for it, take the ball and run with it. And he seems to be doing that. His advanced metrics, 10th in goals saved above expected per Money Puck. Good analytics website, a lot of interesting, fancy statistics there. Third fewest games played of any goalie in the top 10 on that list, the goals saved above expected list. So again, the numbers are starting to speak for themselves, not just the win-loss numbers, but the fancy stats. Some of those analytic numbers are really starting to look nice for Brandon Bussi. Per NHL Edge, his .869 high danger save percentage, second only to Ilya Sorokin in the National Hockey League this season. So Carolina, goalie-friendly system. I realize that. Very strong defensive team, but Brandon Bussi is doing what's asked of him. Frederik Andersen is an unrestricted free agent after the year. Pyotr Kochetkov, he's out for the rest of this season. Only a year left on his deal, and it's a cheap deal by hockey standards, of course. So Carolina, looking at this season, looking at next season, there's going to be opportunity for Brandon Bussi. They are going to continue to be a good team. And that's why his 24-25 Upper Deck Young Guns is still an interesting card. Number 493. He's wearing a Boston Bruins uniform in the card. And not only his performance on the ice, also the fact that he just doesn't have a ton of options as far as rookie cards are concerned. You can still pick up raw copies. It's gone up a little bit, $6 to $13. You start to see more sales above $10 than below the $10 threshold. But that's a card that I certainly would keep an eye on, and you can still grab them cheaply. And if you believe in Carolina potentially getting over the hump, whether it be this year, next year, and you believe in Brandon Bussi being the guy, if they do that, it's a decent little buy, perhaps, on a Brandon Bussi Young Guns. You can find the parallel ones too; those are out there somewhat affordably. And he does have an SP Authentic Future Watch Limited Red non-auto rookie card as well from 24-25, card number 125 in the set, and you can still pick those up for just a few bucks. So again, not only the play on the ice, but also the fact that he just doesn't have a ton of options in the market as far as rookie cards. Just getting back to it, the pros and cons of a Brandon Bussi card purchase. He's on a good team as far as the pros go. Good team, good defensive structure. He's looked the part so far. The team just committed to him for a 3-year contract extension. Not a ton of options as far as rookie cards go. Now the cons, I realize it. Older rookie, but sometimes goaltenders take time anyways to come into their own. And, you know, when the team does sign him to an extension that is a team-friendly one like that, it's a cheap deal. there is the ability for Carolina to potentially look elsewhere as far as a starter, whether it be next year, the year after that, something like that. But I like Brandon Bussi so far from what we've seen. How could you not? The record speaks for itself. The 23 wins so far this season. And again, when you have a situation like they've got, looking at next year, if it's Bussi and Kochetkov between the pipes as the tandem, and you're looking at under $4 million invested in your entire goaltending duo, and the cap potentially going up and things like that, gives Carolina maybe some flexibility to enhance the rest of the roster, which could make things even friendlier for Mr. Bussi. So just something to watch. He's an interesting story and has been as this season's gone along, just continues to perform, and those numbers are showing that it doesn't look like fool's gold for him or the Canes. Folks, the new releases from Upper Deck. Before we get to our conversation with Daniel Machado coming up here in just a couple of minutes, as he's going to join us from Upper Deck. Some new releases, Fleer Ultra out now. That is a hobby release and an ePack release. SP Game Use, that is out as well. You can find that at a hobby shop near you. Autographs of all the big rookies. You've also got the Four Nations relics, all the things like that. It's a really exciting product with a ton of history to it, like we've talked about the last couple episodes. Upper Deck Golf is out now. Upper Deck SP, that comes out on the 25th of February. So at the time this episode drops, it's going to come out tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. March 4th is a big day because you have Upper Deck Series 2, and you've got the Upper Deck rookie box sets, which are always a lot of fun. Speaking of Upper Deck Series 2, I believe next week we're going to try and do kind of a preview to Series 2. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the checklist there and talk about what you can expect overall. But that checklist is out. You can find it online. You can start kind of road mapping what you're going to be looking for when Series 2 comes out. But Matthew Schaefer, Zeev Buya, Michael Misa, Sam Dickinson, Easton Cowan, Ben Kindle. How about if you jump into the breaks and get Utah? Because not only do you have Dmitry Simashev, who was a first-round pick a couple of years back, about a point a game in the American Hockey League for him, but you also have the young gun for Tusky, the Utah Mammoth mascot. So that's going to be an interesting one. Tusky has a young gun in Series 2, just one of the many items that are attractive in Upper Deck Series 2. We're going to get to our conversation now. After that, folks, we've got Hobby 3 Stars. Now, the themes of the Hobby 3 Stars this week, we're going to have Hobby 3 Stars players who did not advance to the medal stage of the men's Olympic ice hockey tournament. So we'll have guys that, again, their teams were ousted before they were at a point they could take home any hardware, but they had nice tournaments and maybe have some cards worth looking into because the NHL season's kicking back in here very shortly. We're also going to have the Team USA Women's Hobby 3 Stars talk about some of the key cards that are out there for some of the gold medalists. So we'll get to that coming up shortly as well. We'll also rip some second edition, the 24-25 Upper Deck PWHL. These came out back before the start of the season, came out back in August, but fun rip and topical right now because we hope to pull some of the names that made some noise, perhaps for Team USA during the Olympics. We are going to get into our conversation now. After that, we'll have the Hobby 3 Stars. So let's get to today's interview. Well, excited for this segment here as we have Daniel Machado, Upper Deck's Director of Direct-to-Consumer Platforms, kind enough to stop by here on Nonsense on Ice. And Daniel, first of all, thanks for jumping on. A lot of things I want to get to with you. But first, overall, welcome. And give us kind of the background here, your hobby journey. What led you to this position at Upper Deck? And we're going to get into some of the nuts and bolts here. And ePack, as I promised the listeners a little bit ago, we'll get into all that here shortly. But what is your hobby journey? If you give us the Reader's Digest version of that, kind of, and what brought you to Upper Deck. Thanks again for stopping by.
So, yeah, thank you, Doug. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. So my name's Daniel, as you mentioned, Director of Direct-to-Consumer Platforms here at Upper Deck. I've been with the company now for almost 10 years. Variety of different roles. Started actually as an unpaid talent relations intern worked through the product team, so got a chance to work on checklists, choosing players on the hockey side for some of those products, and then eventually moved over to the e-commerce team, grew through there to my current position. So I've been working at Upper Deck for quite a while now, working with ePack for quite a while now. And, really started when I finished up college, wanted to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. Huge sports fan, grew up a collector. I think started out like a lot of people from my generation, ripping open packs of Pokemon cards. That was the big draw as a kid. But played sports growing up. So started collecting baseball cards to start, dipped into a few of the other sports. And then eventually, as I started watching hockey, unfortunately didn't grow up near any ice rinks by me. Grew up in the Monterey Bay. So the weather was a little too good to have ice and snow. So didn't grow up skating, didn't grow up playing hockey, but had the chance to follow the Sharks and get to a lot of games. So became a really huge fan, started collecting hockey cards at that point. I think some of the first packs I remember buying were 2009, 2010 Fleer Ultra with Joe Thornton on the packaging. So that was a big draw for me, but, continued to be a fan, continued to be a collector as I grew up. And once I finished college, knew that I wanted to do something I was passionate about. So reached out to Upper Deck, got signed up for the internship program, and I've really grown since then. So it's been quite the journey. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been awesome to see more and more people get involved with collecting over the years, especially after the pandemic was a crazy time to see the industry grow.
So many different things there off of that one answer. For all the kids out there, you heard it right there. Daniel knew what he wanted to do. He went out and he looked for the opportunity. He was able to find it, and things have worked out well for him. So we congratulate you on that. Sharks fan, exciting time for you to be a Sharks fan again here. We just spent some time talking about Mr. Celebrini a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, it's, ebbs and flows of being a Sharks fan the last few years have been a little more difficult, but like the brightest future I can remember since being a fan. Celebrini is just doing things that haven't seen really anyone else do, and the fact that he's 19 is just insane. So it's a lot of fun to watch him develop and grow, not only as a Sharks fan, but here at Upper Deck with so many people chasing his cards, and him really being such a standout player at such an early age. But definitely a lot to look forward to on the Sharks side. I think people forget they've got Will Smith coming up as well, and then a lot of strong rookies from this particular class. I think Igor Chernyshov's one to watch out for, and then Sam Dickinson's going to be a mainstay on that blue line for years to come. So I've really enjoyed watching them grow. Michael Misa too. I think he's going to have really strong finish for the year. So a lot of strong players to watch out for the next few years, and really exciting time to be watching hockey in San Jose.
Yeah, we're really going to dig into the Series 2 checklist and kind of preview that next week, because we're down to a couple of weeks out from Series 2. And you mentioned Misa and Dickinson are going to be a couple of the big releases when that comes out. And before we get into the day-to-day for you and getting into ePack and things like that, you mentioned you were involved on the checklist development side a little bit, which I think for all of us who've been in the hobby for a long time, that is fascinating to me. Can you give us any kind of insight as to what those conversations are like when you know that, for example, an insert set is going to have 10 cards or it's going to have 12 cards, and you need to narrow it down to an appropriate list of players? Are there arguments and debates as to this guy should be in over this guy? What's that process like?
It's a pretty, yeah, I'd say there's a lot of communication that goes on. The product managers here at Upper Deck build essentially the skeleton of the product and say, this is the base set. It's going to be 90 cards or 100 cards or 200 cards. It should feature these types of players. Or, this is the insert set. This is the theme. So fill it with the players that make the most sense for that. So from there, it's kind of going through, racking your brain from your NHL knowledge, making sure you're making the best choices. Sometimes have to put aside your homer picks. So I couldn't fill out all my checklists with Sharks, which is tough to do, but definitely want to give collectors the best experience and make it the best checklist you can. So spend a lot of time filling out the checklist picking players, making second choices, third choices, shuffling things around and going back to the product management team, just making sure it's aligned with what they were looking for. Making sure that the player choices are the best ones you can make. And there's so much that goes into it, like if you're building a checklist 6 to 9 months ahead of the time it's going to release, are the guys going to be on the same teams? Are they going to be, elevated at that point if they're a younger player? Just so much that goes into it to get the best checklist. But definitely as a collector, getting into that was one of the highlights here at Upper Deck, just taking ownership of that and saying, I was involved in that, picked these players, helped make this product come to life. It was always a great experience for me.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating to be on that end of it. That is really cool. So, getting back to it, we talked about it out of the gate here a little bit, and a big reason I wanted to have you on is to talk about ePack, and obviously your title, kind of self-explanatory that you would be involved in this process, Director of Direct Consumer Platforms. The day we're recording this, I jumped on and bought a pack of last year's Fleer Ultra on ePack. So something everybody can note there. It's not just this year's product. It's not just current product that's on eBay on ePack. You can kind of go back in time the last few years and find some different stuff on there. But in mentioning ePack, we talked about it a little bit before we hit record here. But I feel like I'm the kind of collector that almost needs the education on ePack, because not just with cards, but I've been in the hobby for a long time. But I told you before we hit record, I was a guy that was still buying physical music when people were always asking me, like, you buy CDs? Where do you even play them? Like, how do you even play them? And I'm like, no, I still have the physical CDs. So for me, having the physical item in my hand is and has always been important. But I think a lot of folks out there need to know that ePack isn't just a digital platform. It's not just digital cards. It's not just stuff that lives in your phone. You can build a collection that essentially lives in your phone, but you can also, when you hit something really cool, there are physical cards. A lot of it is physical. You can get those cards sent to you. I guess if you had to kind of give the background, the most basic background of ePack to a collector who maybe hasn't tried it before, where would you start?
Yeah, I think that's a great intro, a great place to start. So, just from the beginning, ePack is Upper Deck's direct-to-consumer platform where collectors can purchase and open packs of Upper Deck trading cards from anywhere at any time. So that's really the starting point. And I think as we enter this new era and this new digital era, ePack does a great job of bridging the digital and physical experience, where oftentimes you see those separated, where it's completely digital. Everything that you're buying, you're opening, it's all just digital goods, or it's completely physical, where you're doing everything manually. You're opening, putting things in binders, organizing all on your own. ePack does a great job of bridging the gap between those two. So collectors can manage their trading card digitally, but that is going to involve physical items, just like you said, right? So you open a pack of Upper Deck Series 1 hockey cards, you go through, you find out exactly what you got in that pack right away. And then all those cards get added to your digital collection. So you can see pictures of the cards that are in your collection. You can organize it, you can filter it, you can sort by team, by player. It makes it really easy and seamless to go through that whole process. And then, like you said, at the end of the day, if you want to take ownership of the physical items, you could just request to have those shipped. And they're pulled from your account and they're shipped from a secure location to your house. So you can, you can leave it all on the site if you want to. A lot of people opt to do that just because it's more convenient. It avoids the clutter. And, if you're collecting and you have a significant other who's not a huge fan of having your desk be taken up by all the cards, you can just leave it on there. And then, if you hit that big card that you want, especially as we talk about the 24, 25 products, if you hit Celebrini Young Guns card or one of his Chase rookies, you can choose to have that shipped to you and arrive pretty quickly. So that's definitely a huge aspect of it. The other part with having the collection managed digitally is that you can trade with other collectors around the globe. So ePack allows you to not only view your own collection, but view all the other cards that have been opened and are on the marketplace. So, I could be trading with you right now and we could execute a trade. I could throw some Panthers cards in, you could throw some Sharks cards in, figure out something that works and hit accept. And both of those, or that trade goes through right away. Those cards go from your collection into mine and vice versa. And we don't have to worry about shipping anything, packing anything. It's all done instantaneously. It's all done securely. So that makes it really easy for collectors after opening to engage with other collectors around the world, make those trades, and eliminate a lot of the issues that you see when you're trying to do deals with other people. Even locally, it's more difficult with the shipping and handling and all that, where you can just make those trades right away on ePack. The other really cool part about ePack is that it goes beyond just what's opened and found in the packs. There are some cards that are exclusive to ePack, but then you can complete different sets. You can complete different tasks on ePack to earn ePack exclusive achievement cards, and often those are pretty rare, definitely sought after. So just gamifies things, adds another level of collecting experience for people involved on ePack.
Yeah, the elements to it that I thought were really interesting, aside from, like you said, the fact that there are some exclusives in there. Storage is much easier when you're dealing with ePack, and then you're just getting the card shipped to you as you want. But also the fact that, if things are busy, you don't have time to get out to the card shop. Maybe the card shop's far away. You don't have time to be getting over to, Walmart and Target and things like that to always be on top of the latest releases. You can jump right on the site and you can check out whether it's the newest products or you want to go back to 23, 24 and try to hit some Bedards or whatever the case might be. You can jump right on your phone and do it, and you're dealing with real cards that you can get into your collection. Like I said, I think that just the more I learn about it, it's really opened my eyes to a lot of this. How do you determine what products or how many products get onto the ePack platform?
That's a great question. It's part of a larger discussion here at Upper Deck between the executive team, product team, brand teams to determine, should this product have an ePack component? Should it be hobby exclusive? So a lot of products are split between the two, and then some are left as hobby exclusive because we want to, give the hobby those products, make sure shops are taken care of and have, as much opportunity to success as possible. So just part of a large discussion here. And then generally after, or the ePack products launch after hobby and retail, if there is a retail component to it. So, anywhere from 2 to 3 months, sometimes a little bit longer, the product will eventually make it on ePack. So I think as we get hyped up for UD2 launching in stores and in retail, eventually that's going to make its way to ePack sometime in the summer. So like you said, definitely excited to see that one coming up soon too.
And all the cards that, for example, just today, like I said, I jumped on, tried to get something Celebrini out of that Fleer Ultra pack from last year. Didn't, but got some cool stuff regardless. But those cards that I went on and those cards that are now mine, they're sitting somewhere right now, and in the event that I would get them shipped, they're not, it's not like this isn't like a print to order kind of thing or anything like that. Those cards are actually sitting somewhere right now.
Yeah, those cards are all securely vaulted at one of our partners. So at any point you choose to have those pulled and shipped, that's the card that you're going to get, the one that shows up in your account. So yeah, like you said, not print to order. We do have a couple smaller products that are built like that, but in general, if you're talking about like a UD1, a UD2, Fleer Ultra, those are built to a certain volume. So, once it sells out, it sells out. We're not making any more cards. We only have a certain amount, just like you'd have for the hobby shops. So, the cards you see, the cards you pull, those are actually the cards you're going to get should you choose to have those shipped to you.
And the process to getting it, what's the run through the process? Is it as simple as a point and click and I can get those cards shipped right to me?
Yeah, you go to your collection. You can filter down for physical cards. I think the distinctions, usually the only cards that are digital are typically basic cards, the more common cards that we can get into what you can do with those too. But Go to your collection, filter down for what's physical, click to add them to your transfer cart, and then just go through the steps to have it shipped. Takes just a few minutes if you're only shipping a few cards, and gives you the flexibility to say, this one card that I hit, I want to make sure I get this one now. Or you could be building up your collection for a couple of months, couple of years, and say, okay, now it's time for me to take ownership of these. I've traded for everything I wanted. I've completed these different achievements, earned those achievement cards. So it's time for me to take these in and add to my physical collection.
Now, I love it. I'm not just saying it because Upper Deck's a sponsor of the show here and things like that, but it gives you a chance to really sample products that are out there. It gives you a chance to, like I said, if you're if you're trying to pull a Connor Bedard or something, you can go back a couple of years in the past and you can find some products from 23, 24. I think there's even stuff on there from 22, 23 if you want to go try to hit some Uri Slavkovsky and things like that. So again, there's a lot on there. It's a way to sample a lot of different things, and you can get some exclusives as well. So it's a really cool concept. And if you want to dip your toe in the non-hockey side of things, there's Daniel, you could probably enlighten us on this one. There's a lot of the non-sports stuff on there too, and all the different things that Upper Deck does.
Yeah, I think to start with the point about the hockey offerings, it's a great opportunity. Not only if you don't have access to a shop nearby, or you don't have a retail store that's covering a lot of trading cards, hockey cards, it gives you access to get that product. And then, especially as the 24-25 product starts to dry up, still available on ePack, so you can buy 24-25 extended series, chase those Celebrini, canvas Young Guns. You've got 24-25 Clear Ultra, which is an ePack exclusive. So the only place you can go in and find those cards and purchase those and have a chance at some of those ePack exclusive Celebrini cards. And then all the fun with SP Game Use from that year too. That one's still available on ePack. So like you said, gives collectors an opportunity to purchase some products that they may never have access to, or that are not available at shops anymore. And then, it goes well beyond just hockey on ePack. So we typically offer all the different multi-sport, golf, entertainment products that are available on ePack. And so if you're a collector that does just hockey, it's great because there's a ton of hockey product available. But if you like to dip your toe into golf, there's a big connection between hockey and golf. We've got a full offering of golf products on there, and then some of our DC products as well. Our Goodwin Champions, our World of Sports is available on there too. And beyond just being able to purchase and open those packs, you can actually trade those cards for any other card available. So there's no limitations on what you can trade or be used in a trade. So you could be trading something from a hockey card product for a DC product or for a golf product or all the above. It just really opens the door to, an expanded collecting experience that just can't get anywhere else.
So again, I think it's a great platform. I've been self-educating myself on it now for several months. Doing the daily free packs. Those are on there. You can have a lot of fun. You can just get a look at the platform, how it functions, everything like that. I would urge anybody to go on there and check it out. And again, I understand if you're somebody who says, "Oh, but I like to have physical cards." Well, you can do that on ePack. I think that's the biggest thing to realize. Daniel, before we let you go, day to day for you, what's it like? And you touched on it a little bit, but if there was somebody out there, I was going to say a kid, but if there was a kid or an adult looking to make a career pivot, if there was somebody out there who loves this hobby, who says, you know what, I want to make this my life, and I'd like to try and work in this industry, how would you tell someone to go about it?
Thanks. Yeah, I think just looking and seeing what's available out there is a great place to start. Seeing companies that you're involved with, whether for me as a collector it was Upper Deck, or if you're interested in hockey, seeing what hockey associated companies are out there, getting a sense of different career offerings they have. I think internships are always a great place to start because you can kind of test the waters and see if it's a fit for you. And then I think once you get to that point, just being proactive, contacting people at the companies, letting them know you're interested, finding out what you need to do to get on board. And then I think the biggest thing is once you get that opportunity, really seizing it. Really worked hard when I first started here at Upper Deck and took advantage of each opportunity that was given to me, and it allowed me to grow to the point where I'm at today, working on the ePack. Overseeing the team that's managing the day to day, being the primary point of contact for our developers on the website, and then our processing partners that inventory and store all the physical cards. So yeah, I'd say just you find out what's available out there, see what seems like it's a good fit, be proactive, make the right contacts, and once you get the opportunities, do what you can to seize those.
Yeah, if you're somebody like me that travels a lot for work, for example, but you still like to rip some packs every so often, I can be anywhere across North America, and I can jump on ePack, and I can rip whatever my heart desires on that Upper Deck platform. So again, ePack, really cool thing. Day in the life for you. What's a day in the life of the director of direct consumer platforms at Upper Deck?
Oh man, changes so much day to day. But a lot of working with other teams, a lot of partners just to make sure the site's up and running, making sure as we have new products, everything looks good with those before they go out to the site. Making sure products are getting shipped out to our processors, making sure everything looks good there. And then we have a great team here that handles a lot of the day to day. So just making sure that they're okay. They've got everything they need to keep things running, keep things ticking. So, wear a lot of different hats, have a lot of different responsibilities on a day-to-day basis, but everything is just to make sure ePack and our other platforms are running smoothly.
Well, before we let you get going, last thing here, because again, we're going to preview Series 2 in greater detail next week, but just from your end on the business side at Upper Deck, I know Macklin Celebrini is a special player. We've been really fortunate to have a lot of great 18 and 19-year-olds burst into the National Hockey League the last few years, but how much are you guys feeling the Matthew Schaefer buzz? Because I said it a couple episodes back. I don't think it's crazy talk. I don't think I'm out of turn in saying that I feel like the Matthew Schaefer Young Gun could be one of the most important hockey cards of the decade. How much buzz are you guys feeling on your side with this special 18-year-old of the Islanders?
Oh, it's insane. I think it's just crazy to think of not only the things he's doing right now and where he's at as a player, but doing all that at 18, his first year in the league. Tons of excitement here at Upper Deck and from the collecting community about the potential he has and the current performance. And I know that's going to translate on the card side too. So we're really excited that he's an exclusive athlete for us, and I can't wait to see the reaction for his young guns once those get out to the market. So tons of excitement, tons of hype. I know he's a really special player, and it's just unbelievable to see what he's doing at such a young age already.
Daniel Machado, Director of Direct-to-Consumer Platforms at Upper Deck. Daniel, thank you for being so generous with your time today, opening our eyes to ePack. Hopefully, we got a lot of folks out there to jump onto ePack and check it out because, like I said, we can't hammer it home enough. I totally get it for the collectors out there who want physical items. Go to ePack, you can get physical items, and you might find some stuff that your local card shop is sold out of or that you haven't been able to find on the retail shelves for a while. You might be able to find it right there on the ePack platform, and there might be some exclusives on there that you could hit as well. Daniel, thank you so much for stopping by to open our eyes as far as ePack goes and tell us a little bit more about that, but to talk about your journey and everything you're doing. Keep up the good work, and again, thanks for stopping by.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Doug. I really appreciate it.
Great conversation there with Daniel Machado, the director, and I got to make sure I get this right, Upper Deck's Director of Direct-to-Consumer Platforms. Tons of great information. And again, big thanks to him for stopping by here on Nonsense on Ice, presented by Upper Deck. And I think the biggest thing to mention there, and getting back to it, like what we said a little bit ago, I'm one of those collectors and I'm one of those people. I need the physical item in my hand. I need to be able to hold the cards. Well, on ePack, you can. And, there are certain cards. We're going to talk about Connor Bedard here in just a moment. But you go on ePack right now, and there are, a lot of products from 23, 24. You can go back and chase Bedard rookies without having to get off your couch. They're all right there. Your local card shop might be out of them. You're not finding that stuff out at the retailers anymore. But you can jump on ePack and you can rip a few packs. You can rip a full box. It's all right there. And you can get those cards sent to you if you have big hits. So again, it's a pretty cool platform like that. And I think that was the biggest thing I wanted to hit home with that is I think there are a lot of people who are just haven't paid, maybe haven't really gotten to know ePack in full. Also, a lot of folks out there who maybe know what ePack is to an extent, but thought it was, all digital cards. It's not. It's physical. You can get those sent to you. Great thing to check out. And talking to Daniel a little bit as well after we kind of broke the connection on the interview, and we were just still connected here on the through the magic of our platform here to be able to chit chat. But you're generally not going to see the ePack release of a product like Fleer Ultra that just came out on the same day as the street release for the product when it hits hobby shops. There is going to be a little bit of a kind of a, if you want to call it a lapse, a gap in time between when the hobby product may come out, the hobby component, and the ePack component would come out. So gives you a little bit of extra runway, some extra opportunity to be able to pick up those cards down the road. Check it out. I've been self-educating on ePack for a number of months now and having a lot of fun with it. And I believe a product we're going to rip a few physical packs of here shortly is still on ePack, the PWHL Upper Deck, which I opened some last year and it was loaded with hits, the first edition. So we'll get to some of that here shortly in just a moment. And we're going to try it again. Full disclosure, I dropped the technical ball last week, and we had to make we had to call some audibles on the fly, and Rebecca, our great producer, had to find a workaround, and we got the kind of breaker cam for you, if you will, to show you those O-Pee-Chee we ripped last week. But I am going to try to hit the button properly this time. So we are going to hopefully give you the pack by pack, the way we want to, breaker cam of those PWHL cards. Folks, Hobby 3 stars for this week. And the theme this week, Hobby 3 stars who did not advance to the medal stage of the Men's Olympic Ice Hockey Tournament. We will have the Team USA Women's Gold Medalist Hobby 3 stars coming up in just a moment. But Hobby 3 stars who didn't advance to the medal stage, focus shifting back to the National Hockey League for the three names I'm going to mention. And for the three names I'm going to mention, all kind of in different places as far as, in some ways, their careers, but also the teams that they're playing for. And we're going to start things off with a guy who is playing for a contender, maybe the contender, just based on the records this season. Marty Necas of the Colorado Avalanche. He played for Team Czechia at the Olympics, second most points of any player who didn't advance to the Olympic Final Four, had 8 points in 5 games, including 3 goals for the Czechs during the Olympics. No question, because of his age, he's going to be on Team Czechia the next time that they go to the Olympics, the NHL players, that is. He's got 62 points in 52 games this season for the heavyweight contender, the Colorado Avalanche, the season that they put together as a team. And how about the season that he's having? He's got 22 goals. 28 was his career high back in 22-23. So a good opportunity for him to potentially not only set a new career high, but hit that 30-goal mark for the first time in his young career. I know with Marty Necas, 35 points in 66 career playoff games, a lot of those with Carolina. A little bit of a dip in the points per game playoffs compared to regular season. You're going to see that a lot. You're playing the best teams in the playoffs, but no doubt he and the Avalanche have high aspirations this year. Marty Necas, his 17-18 Upper Deck Young Guns rookie card number 464. You can pick that up $15 to $20 raw right now per card ladder. So not a bad buy there for a guy that has an opportunity to be involved in a very deep playoff run this spring. If you want to take it a step further, PSA 10s of his Future Watch autograph from SP Authentic, 17-18. That's numbered to $9.99. About $175 to $200 for a PSA 10 of that Future Watch autograph. Marty Necas leads off our Hobby 3 stars this week. Lucas Raymond. He and the Detroit Red Wings, they look like they are going to be playing some playoff hockey for the first time in a long time. For Lucas Raymond, hopes to make his first appearance in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Most points of any player who didn't advance to the Olympic Final Four. Had 9 points in 5 games for Sweden, 8 of those assists. And like Natchez, who I just mentioned, for Czechia moving forward, Lucas Raymond is going to be a staple on Swedish national teams for the next decade plus. You can bet on that one. He had the most assists in the Olympics of a player who didn't make the medal round, and his Red Wings, they look poised to be in the playoffs this year. 60 points in 56 games this season. Career high for him was 80 points last year, so a chance to meet or exceed the point total from last season. For Lucas Raymond, this one caught me off guard a little bit. His 21-22 Upper Deck Young Guns rookie card number 464. On February 19th, there were 7 sales of that card on February 19th, all between 10 and 20 bucks. So again, for a guy who is ascending in the National Hockey League, who plays in a market that loves its hockey team, that has a chance to play in the playoffs for the first time. 10 to 20 bucks for a Young Guns rookie, Lucas Raymond, a guy who just keeps getting better, seemed like a pretty good buy. That one caught my attention. So we go from a guy playing for a contender, Marty Natchez, a guy who looks like he's playoff bound in Lucas Raymond, to a guy who is an established NHLer who maybe hasn't had the season that he's wanted to individually. His team hasn't had the season that it has wanted to. But Timo Meier of the New Jersey Devils had 7 points in 5 games for Switzerland. And they were close to advancing, wasn't in the cards. He signed with the Devils through the 30-31 season. As far as the Devils, doesn't look good for them this season. But if they get on track, back on track, I should say, next year and beyond, he's likely going to be right in the middle of it because he's on that long-term contract in New Jersey. He has 3 30-goal seasons in his career, but he hasn't been able to hit that mark in either of his 2 full seasons with the Devils. This season, the production certainly not where he'd want it to be. 14 goals, 28 points in 52 games, but maybe a little bit of a buy low idea here because he's got 231 career goals, and he's still only 29 years old. And he is going to be a teammate of Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes and Jesper Bratt and Nico Hischier for years to come, depending on how things go in New Jersey. So maybe a buy low candidate because you can pick up his Young Guns rookie cards from back in 16-17, $3 to $6 for a Timo Meier Young Gun from back in 16-17. To illustrate how much that market is down right now, on February 19th, a BGS 10 pristine of a Timo Meier Young Gun sold for $29.28 per card ladder. Future Watch autograph on February 5th, numbered to $9.99, sold for $14.95. If you like the Devils, if you like Timo Meier, and if you just needed to be reminded that this guy at 29 does have 231 career goals, there are some deals out there. Your hobby 3 stars this week, 3 guys who were productive at the Olympic Games: Martin Natchez, Lucas Raymond, and Timo Meier. Now, a name that wasn't at the Olympic Games, and we can kind of tie this back to ePack too, because Connor Bedard was in those 23-24 products. You can get a lot of those still on Upper Deck ePack right now, but didn't play in the Olympics. His time for Team Canada will come, folks, probably in 4 years. That Series 2 flagship from 23-24, it is available on ePack at last check. Getting you caught up on the Connor Bedard market. His 23-24 Young Guns card, that number 451 rookie, raw sales recently, the high 200s. You're looking at mid to high 200s, 240 to 288 bucks. Some recent sales. PSA 10s, kind of a wide range, $655 to $764. Card ladder value currently 636 bucks. It says on a PSA 10 of that Bedard PSA 10 Young Gun. The Bedard card ladder index, folks, down while the overall hockey index is up. The Bedard card ladder index the last 3 months down about 14.66% according to card ladder. If you see people out there giving away their Connor Bedard cards at strangely low prices, it might be a good place to capitalize, because in the big picture, the team is building. He is the cornerstone. He has a lot of that flash to his game and can bring you out of your seat. He's not going to be 21 until July. And in Chicago, they've gone out and gotten Spencer Knight in goal, and they have Frank Nazar, and they have Artyom Levshinov, and Anton Frondel had a great showing at the World Juniors, and he was their draft pick. They have a lot of pieces that are coming into the fold in Chicago. Don't forget that this guy has 181 points in 194 career games, and a lot of that was done as a teenager. Connor Bedard, to me, still has an incredibly bright future in the National Hockey League, even though his cards are, in a lot of cases, down right now. Maybe a good opportunity to add some cool Connor Bedard stuff to your collection. Folks, big congratulations. A big nonsense on ice congratulations to the Team USA women's squad that brought home another gold medal at the Olympic Games. And we're going to get into the Team USA Women's Hobby 3 Stars, and then we'll rip some Upper Deck PWHL here shortly. The Team USA Women's Hobby 3 Stars, and that's something now that you have to look forward to. And if you're out shopping, if you're out looking for singles, if you're out buying cards, you can find cards of these of the players that were involved in the gold medal win for Team USA. We're going to lead off our Hobby 3 Stars. Megan Keller, she scored the overtime winner for Team USA in that thriller against Team Canada. Plays for Boston in the PWHL. Just played in her third Olympic Games. Now in the first edition of Upper Deck PWHL, you can pick up her Young Guns card. Card number 68. Recent sales, $15 to $22. And when you score a game winner, an overtime game winner, no less, for Team USA at the Olympics, you are a part of Olympic hockey lore. And you can pick up her Young Guns card, again, right around the $20 range. So seems like it would be a fun one to have in your collection. Megan Keller leads off our Team USA women's gold medalist, Hobby 3 Stars. Hilary Knight, one of the best of all time, most goals and points by a Team USA player in Olympic history. Seattle of the PWHL, just played her fifth Olympic Games for Team USA. That same year, the first edition Upper Deck PWHL, you can pick up her Young Guns card. Raw, $30 to $35. So a little more expensive on the Hilary Knight card. She is one of the best of all time in the sport. But that first edition of the Upper Deck PWHL, $30 to $35 for, again, one of the GOATs of women's hockey. And, again, scored a huge goal in that game as well. That gold medal game had that just picture-perfect deflection to tie the game late, force it into overtime. Again, you can get her cards at a pretty friendly price. And the goaltender, Aaron Frankel, 30 saves in net in that gold medal game victory over Canada, Boston of the PWHL. You can get her Upper Deck PWHL first edition card number 14. About $5 raw right now. It's not a Young Gun. The Young Guns have a little bit more difficult to obtain pack odds on them, but you can pick up her cards again. Her first edition Upper Deck PWHL cards around $5. Your Hobby 3 Stars right there, the Team USA women's gold medalist Hobby 3 Stars. Again, a big congratulations to them. And what a way to win it. It was a thriller in overtime against Team Canada. And one of the great rivalries in sports, you can tell the respect between the two teams, but one of the great rivalries as well, USA and Canada on the women's side in ice hockey. And for a lot of the players involved, I'm sure not the last time that they will have a big-time game with a medal on the line. We're going to get this thing fired up now. I'm going to do this right this time. And for those of you, well, if you're listening, if you're watching, I'm pretty good at multitasking this kind of thing. Done a lot of it in my day job. I should always mention that my day job, I am the radio broadcaster for the Florida Panthers in the National Hockey League, and it's my 11th season doing Panthers games. And again, I mention that because we probably have some new folks coming in to tune in with each passing week. At least we hope we do. Tell a friend. I'm repositioning myself on the screen a little bit. So what we have here, I'm just making sure that everybody's going to be able to see. So I am going to record we're giving you the nuts and bolts, kind of taking you behind the curtain, if you will. I'm recording on a device off to the side. And then, through the magic of production, we'll be able to kind of have a breaker cam interspliced that you can watch the packs get ripped on. At least that's the hope. I was unsuccessful last time, and I will take the heat for that one. All right, here we go. We're going to get right into it, just so you can, for our YouTube audience, so you can see. Upper Deck PWHL. There are young guns in these. You get a lot of inserts. You get 6 cards a pack. These are hobby packs. And speaking about last year's product, hopefully this year's is the same. I'm sure it will be. But hits were left and right last year. So we are going to get right into this right now. The Upper Deck PWHL 24-25. These are also, I believe, available on ePack right now. We will start ripping. Here we go. We have Grace Sumwinkle. She's Team USA, just won a gold medal. We have Susanna Tapani. Micah Zandy Hart. Emerance Mashmeyer. Chloe Orard. And we have a Dazzlers here. Dazzlers insert. Aaron Ambrose, Dazzlers, the Montreal Victoire. Cool blue Dazzler insert right there. Nice one. Dazzlers insert. All right, pack number 2. First card in the pack. We have Elaine Shuley. I guess I should, so now I'm getting too many things going on. That last pack, we're going to show you on the screen right here. That's our Dazzler, Aaron Ambrose. Hopefully, I think you might get an insert in every pack. And also, I'll show you for our YouTube audience. Again, there's Grace Sumwinkle, USA gold medalist card right there. All right, pack number 2. We're going to do 4 packs today. Elaine Shuley. Oh, there's Aaron Frankel, who we just talked about. Aaron Frankel, the goaltender for Team USA. This would be her second PWHL card. Fun one to get right there. In the news lately, obviously. So Aaron Frankel, Maddie Rooney. Big goaltender pack right here. There's Kendall Coyne Schofield. Speaking of one of the all-time best. Show it right here on the main screen. Alex Carpenter, another Olympian there. And there's Emma Malte of Toronto on the UD portraits. I think these are 1 in every 10 packs, these inserts. Emma Malte right there. She was on Team Canada. So, see, you open the PWHL cards. We're getting the names you know. They're all here. I think it's a 70-card set. You got 20 Young Guns. And the Young Guns are 1... You get a couple per hobby box. Here's Aaron Ambrose again. Yeah, a couple per hobby box. I think maybe 1 in 5, 6 packs. Run out of fast. Corrine Schroeder. Katerina Mrazova. There's Teresa Javsol. I think that's how you say it. And a Teresa Vanisova Dazzlers insert. Our second Dazzlers for the YouTube crowd right there. We're going to show it a couple of different angles here. And our last pack for today, we've got some cool stuff. We haven't gotten a Young Gun. We've got some cool stuff. Oh, here's one of the all-time best to play the sport, Marie-Philippe Poulin. See, again, we're getting the names that you want. Marie-Philippe Poulin just played for Team Canada. I think she's played in five Olympic Games. One of the best right there to do it. Claire Dalton. Blair Turnbull. There's the goaltender from Team Canada, Anne-Renee Desbiens. So Anne-Renee Desbiens there. Savannah Harmon. And we did get a Young Gun right here. Here's the Young Gun, Claire Thompson. So Claire Thompson, Young Guns. So again, that's That was what I noticed when I opened the first edition PWHL, and it looks like it holds true this time around. And again, this product has been out since August, but wanted to rip some with you here today because Team USA won the gold. And obviously with USA and Canada meeting in the gold medal game, we were without a doubt going to open up these packs and get a lot of the names that we know and a lot of the names that we're familiar with from Team USA. So fun product there, lots of hits, and again, something to go and check out. So again, that's the Upper Deck PWHL for our YouTube audience. We'll show you the wrapper here again. 2425 Upper Deck PWHL. Go and check that out at a hobby shop near you or on ePack. You can pick that up right now. Folks, that takes us to the end of the program. I want to thank Daniel Machado from Upper Deck for stopping by, where Daniel is the Director of Direct-to-Consumer Platforms. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and be sure to tell a friend. You can find Nonsense on Ice wherever you get your podcast. Big thanks to Rebecca on the other side for the great production work as always. My name's Doug Plagens. Nonsense on Ice, as always, presented by Upper Deck. Thanks for being with us, and we'll talk to you next time.